What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we are looking at an absolute gorgeous knife from Skiff Made Blades. This is the Asylum. Now, this will be my first Skiff proper that I've been able to check out. It's a brand that's been on my list now for quite some time in a number of different configurations, and this one kind of just fell in my lap. They're hard to find knives. So, I've been longing for a Fugitive to try to track one of those down. Still haven't been able to. And then a friend of mine had one of these floating around and decided to take a look at it here. So anyway, we've got the Asylum. Would love to do a quick video on it today to kind of show the knife, see what we're working with, some initial feedback and opinions on what we're looking at here. It's really special. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee, a Coke, a wine, a water, whatever you're into, depending on what time of the day it is. I'm sure there's something to sit back and relax and enjoy this gorgeous Asylum in the morning or night, wherever you are. As a reminder, visit BladeZilla.ca. Well, lots of cool stuff up right now. Just added some new Penna X's, some Lannies, some Texas, all kinds of stuff, some 229 integrals, the really cool Erie Adams from TRM's, super sick. Some restock on the F95 Bears, some new CKFs, Microtechs, oh, you name it. Lots of cool stuff on BladeZilla.ca. But we're not here to talk about BladeZilla.ca. We're here to talk about this stunner of a knife. And I figure that's what we should probably do. So, where to start? Well, I should probably, what do you think? Get some measurements on this guy. What do you think? Yeah, may as well. And as a reminder, guys, this is casual. This is a coffee shop style conversation. I'm gonna show you the knife, talk about it, and it's not gonna be this level of detail that's, an hour and a half breaking down every angle and edge and bevel. It's just enjoying a knife casually. So I apologize if my measurements aren't precise, but that's kind of what makes this a little more fun. So reminder, we are at a, 7.5? Is that what I'm coming in at? 7.5 inch overall length, which is a good EDC size with about a 3-inch blade, maybe a hair less. To that center of the choil, you're about 3.25. So on paper, it's probably a sub 3-inch grind, which is probably a critical number in some markets. And I should probably measure the handle. I ask for that one all the time. Handle length is 4 3/8, and then that new measurement people are asking for is the closed length of the overall knife as well. So let's get that here and take a look. We are coming in at, nothing protrudes. So same kind of thing, 4 3/8, 4.25, 4.25. So overall, really, really cool knife. Good size for a lot of kind of everyday carries, and a fit and finish that I think will kind of stand the test of time. Plain tie has always been something I've loved, and you can kind of just, in that, I don't know how they do it, if it's a kind of a blasted finish or they do a stonewash. I'm not too sure what they're calling it. I do have the COA here, and let's take a look. Maybe there's some more details on this specific model, as these are not cookie cutter knives. They're all kind of individual in very minimal batches. So let's take a look here at the certificate of authenticity on this knife. So there you go. Asylum LMAX blade, tie pivot discs, tie backspacer, tie clip, limited ice blue. I remember hearing that, the ice blue, so it's a little bit more of a lighter blue than their standard dark blue. Serial number, this is number 6, made on September 12th, 2024, and then you've got an autograph if you want AI to cut some Steve Skiff checks. You've got his signature there. Please don't do that. But that's cool. Also a massive certificate of authenticity. Typically they're a little smaller, but I can certainly appreciate that. LMAX blade, there's going to be some people that say, hey, LMAX is a little old school now, and if you look at Shirogorov, they're putting LMAX on a lot of their entry-level knives now. To me, LMAX is an excellent steel. I've got no issues with it, and it looks to me like we've got an excellent stonewash on this LMAX steel, so it looks great. Nice Warney style cutter as well, very sharp. Nice edge. Not a ding in this one whatsoever, just factory. Gorgeous. Also, nice 3D milled backspacer on here. I think that is just worthy of art as well. And backspacers, you know, if you look at Shiro's, you look at some other designs, they typically just kind of do a gear backspacer, and this one is just a nice little play on that. Although I will say, when taking knife photos of this one, because of that angled backspacer, this thing does not want to stand whatsoever on either side of the knife. So when you go to take photos of centering and whatnot, this knife does not stand on an end, which is as a result of that backspacer, and it's just kind of weird that way. We have a Skiff logo, I think, on the front here. It's where they usually put it. There you go. So there is a little bit of writing, but these knives are not loud. They tend to be a little more under the radar, but like logo-wise, branding-wise, but you know, I get massive Shirogorov Bio Sinkovich vibes with the kind of spacing on the millwork. And something that you don't really see a lot of is because you'll see a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a photo that's just like a 2D photo, right? And you can, there's a lot of angles on this, like one angle here, one edge here, another here, another kind of in the middle here, and then another at the top. So it's kind of 4 different layers of edge work on a single scale, and they kind of hide it in that milling, which is kind of cool, just in itself, really cool. And then on the back, same thing, other than on the clip is actually another 3 different layers. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see that one little edge here, and I'll focus the camera there so you can see it, but one edge here, one in the middle, and then one on the top as well. So just really nice beveling inside the milling pattern. And this is just, geez, this is a wet dream for millwork. It's just gorgeous. The ice blue, or whatever they're calling it, light blue, glacier blue, arctic blue, it's a nice touch. It's not as loud and pronounced as dark blue, but it hides nicely, and it's just a nice pop of color. God, inside here is gorgeous, hey? Inside that lock bar bend cutout. That's a cool spot to take some photos of. There's a lot going on there. Under the clip, I don't see any hidden screws or anything, as far as I can see. Yeah. Clip is attached externally, which is, once again, kind of a nice little, you know, throws that nice blue hardware, another reason to kind of showcase itself. Internally, these things I've heard are gorgeous. I've never actually looked inside one. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Asylum number 6. Wow, that is cool. They weren't kidding. Asylum number 6, loud and clear. How cool is that, guys? This is what I'm talking about. Just detail that. This is why it's a dream. I love Easter eggs on the inside of knives, because these are things not everyone sees. And then just looking down inside it, there's a lot of millwork inside. Lots of skeletonization, lots of big cutouts. I can see some logos as well. If I flip this guy around, there's some logo work here as well. Just so cool. That just made my day looking inside here. I love stuff like that. And I'm sorry my camera does not show it very well. It's a complete lack of my skills that do no justice to this. So my thing would be grab one, grab an Asylum, grab a Skiff in general. I think every collection should probably have a Skiff just because they're so cool. They tend to hold their value very, very well from list as well, or table. And they're just not hard, or they're not as common to grab. So beautiful. Big trapezoids taken out inside. Yeah, there's a lot going on inside here. I would love to actually take a look inside this proper, but there's quite a bit going on. Nothing, no center line on the back of the backspacer. That'd be cool to get a little millwork on the back of that backspacer, just to add a little flair, because you're already doing a ton of work and it looks like there's plenty of clearance in there. So you could do some cool stuff. Centering wise, what are we looking at here? If it wants to focus, dead center. I would expect nothing less at this price point, which table, I think these are around 1200 US. Maybe a little more, probably 1500 to get them here to Canada. But yeah, well, I guess actually now that there's potentially tariffs and all that fun stuff, could be quite a bit more to get it here, but anyway. Gorgeous. Flipper tab. Looks to be, where are we on in terms of center? We're forward of center. So it should be a nice solid click. Very nice, balanced. In hand, remember I'm a extra large glove. I kind of spill over the handle a little bit in the back here, I'd say. I spill over that a little bit, although I could see how you could also choke up and go forward, as that choil is pretty comfortable. So if you wanted to, there's no guard to the blade edge, but you could if you wanted to. I'd say it's more of a medium-large knife than an extra large. Balance-wise, right behind the pivot, we got a perfect balance. So nice design and execution, Mr. Skiff. What other little things can I see here? Well, we've got a lock bar insert here, a metal replaceable lock bar insert, externally attached via, looks like a T6, maybe a T8. We've got some grooves cut out in that lock bar as well. It is not raised like the Shiros that I love, but the cutout does make it comfortable and widens that accessibility to that lock bar, which is nice. Nicely executed. The bend in this, you're starting to approach some pretty critical thinness levels here, I'd say, on that bend. So be careful with this one, which is why you have that lock bar insert, so as to not bend it the wrong way. But that's getting pretty thin, which is cool. And even on the inside of this, I can see there's a pocket around where they turn this bit around here. See how they drill a hole right here, and then that's where they do that cut work. On the inside of that, there's actually a concave circle around it on the inside. So there's not a whole lot of material here. That's interesting. Super cool, which makes it probably very light. Very nice. Action-wise, let's be honest. There's a reason everyone has heard of Skiff bearings. So I'm assuming it's on Skiff bearings. Silky smooth, no issues there. Just reliable, just super reliable. Gorgeous knife. This would make for a great EDC for just about anyone. It really would. Pocket clip wise, you're going to be looking at about this much sticking up from your jeans. It's not a full deep carry, but it is fairly deep. It is a milled clip, obviously, lots of detail. Which looks great. Size-wise, let's do some comparisons. Let's grab my normal batch of a couple Shiros. And let's move this guy down just a hair here so it's kind of center-ish. And we'll slap a couple Shiros and a couple other things on the table here. So let's start with a Stellar. So Stellar pivot to pivot is a bigger knife. So keep that in mind. A Stellar is a fairly big knife. It's more medium-large, but keep in mind it's not a 95, which would be something like this. This is a Hattie or a half tie, which is an F95 with a front scale on it that's carbon fiber. So, you know, the Asylum's not a massive knife. Probably airs more towards kind of like a strip. And let's just, oh, I gotta do that. Listen to it one more time. Ah, oh, gorgeous. There you go. Very strip-esque size-wise. Even the strip makes it look a little small. I would say the strip's a little longer, but it's also not much. So more strip size than anything. So it's a really good EDC kind of carry. We'll grab an F90 or a Quantum. There's your Quantum Monkey Edge frag. Classic configuration. This one's on single row bearings. We'll grab my Astrum as well. There you go. M390 Astrum, super cool, classic. And then some other knives that might be similarly sized. We'll grab our Grimsmo Rask, which is immediately a little bit bigger, but refinement level, detail-wise, very similar. We'll grab a small Sabenza, which is probably going to be much smaller. So there's your small Sabenza in black micarta, which it's going to kind of tip over while I grab the next one, but much smaller than this guy, which is fine. And then we'll grab a large Sabenza drop point 31 S45 VN, which will be much bigger. Not by much, but once again, I feel like the length of this blade is kind of underplayed a little bit on the Asylum, just based on the style of blade, right? So just because the top edge is short versus the bottom edge, it just looks shorter than it actually truly is. So there's your large Sabenza. And I think, you know what, that's probably good. I'll grab a Roosevelt as well. Thinner knife, fatter handle, a little bit fatter handle, but size-wise, smaller. Just for perspective, I know people love seeing the Rosie on the channel. They always, there's always comments asking about why I don't show it more often, and literally I just forget about it, but it's a classic knife. And had someone comment actually recently on the clip being very unique on this, so there you go, cool clip on it. But anyway, there's your comparison on a couple sizes. And in terms of other features that's kind of unique to this, well, so obviously the bearings, the fit in hand's nice. We've got a kind of raised blade here instead of jimping. You know, I'm a firm believer that you don't need jimping if you have if the knife is fit nicely to your hand. And if on the right hand side, your finger's gonna fall right into this and kind of stop as it bevels up, which is nice. See what I'm saying? A little rise there. You've got some unique hardware that, you know, looks complicated. There's a lot going on here with that hardware, but at the same time, it's very much just a Torx, like a T10 probably, with a nice little disc on top. And some of the old knives, I want to say the Fugitive, they actually like had that disc blended in with the milling, which was a real attractive feature to me, and they've kind of gone away from that. I wonder why. I'm kind of thinking it probably had to do with some problems matching things up, maybe some complaints. I'm not sure. This is just speculation. But they've kind of gone with the plain disc, which kind of eliminates that problem. What would I like to see more in this knife? Well, you know, this is my first taste of the brand, so I know they've got other models that'll be more my style, so a little bit bigger. Other than that, nothing. Like, it's a beautifully executed knife, and if you guys have been following me for a couple of years now on the channel, you'll know this is exactly what I like. Plain Jane tie with funky milling, with a little bit of jazz to it, to kind of pop it up. This is 100% my style of knife and my execution that I like. So I've got no issues with the Asylum. I've got no issues with the manufacturing quality. Everyone who I've ever talked to who have owned a Skiff, they regret selling them. They really do. They're like, I should have kept that. They're cool. You don't see them everywhere. They're just a well done, well executed, cool design across the board. And you don't see them everywhere. Made in the US, you know, right around that 1,000 plus kind of 1,500 range US, well executed, depending on configuration, materials, etc. Well done. Well done, Skiff. I'm really impressed. I would love to stock one of all of them. But truly, I would love to see more variants come through the store. As they come available, I would love to bring more in. They're just absolutely fantastic in design and execution, and just to look at, like, how cool are these knives. I'm just going to show you one knife that Sugarloaf Bio, for maybe someone who's watching this that hasn't doesn't realize how much of a knife slut I am with Shirogorov and how I love Sienkiewicz. And so the bio is what I'm kind of referencing in the milling pattern-wise. So when we look at the bio, we can see some similarities here. The bio is designed in a way that it's not just for, I shouldn't say just, it's not for bevels of a pattern. It's actually a little more involved in kind of how they roll the pattern, but what they're doing is they're trying to make it look like a spine. Let's move this away. They're trying to make it look like a spine and rib cage, right? But this knife would probably be a little more comparable in a bio light with that stonewash tie to kind of show what I'm talking about a little bit more, kind of how it goes down the handle and stuff. Right, but I get a lot of those vibes in the kind of depth of the milling and kind of how they accomplish their design. I get a lot of the same kind of feel to this knife. A different weight to the knife, different in hand, different fit. This one feels a little more hollower because it's lighter, which I haven't weighed, which I'll do here. Why don't I do that now? But just these are the vibes I get. It's the Shirogorov bio. In terms of that milling pattern, which I love. You guys, you know I love that knife. Feels probably 3.5, 4 ounces, 3.9 and 3.9. So yeah, right in the range of kind of what you'd expect. Really nice. Really nice weights given the size. 3-inch. If a 3-inch blade, you'd kind of expect it to be around 3.5 or less, but it's also a very thick, heavy blade. That's a big blade stock. So if they wanted to make a thin version of this, I'm sure they could, based on the amount of materials they're able to take out of that lock bar and just the overall design. Milling's not a problem for these guys. So, would they make a thin? Don't know. Do they have to? Absolutely not. I'd like to see another, keep the same angles, proportions. Give me another inch on this. That'd be fun. 3.75 blade, another inch on the handle. That could be real fun to see what they could do, something like that. But then again, I don't know I don't know what they've made. I don't know all their models. I know they kind of cycle them, and they play in that 3.5-inch range quite a bit. So, maybe I've got to just open my eyes and get something a little different, try some different variants of the knife, and maybe I wouldn't surprise myself too much that they offer a knife that I really might like. So, very cool. All right, guys, well, that is the Skiff Made Blades Asylum. This particular one is number 6, as is evident on that massive Easter egg on the inside of this knife, which is gorgeous, stunning, etc. So that is just so cool. And nice, makes you feel like every one of these is just that extra custom touch to it, which is always fun. So that's the Asylum. Great to get one of these finally in the store to check out. And very much appreciated. You know who you are. And until next time, guys, we will talk to you soon. Have a great week. Check out BladeZilla.ca, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and if you're on the YouTube right now, throw a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe every Monday and Thursday, full-length videos. Be dropping at 7 a.m. Eastern, which at least has been happening now for about a year and a half, every day, I think, or on that schedule, Monday, Thursday mornings. So hopefully we can continue that. Otherwise, have a fantastic week, and we'll talk soon, guys. Peace.